Hello everyone, welcome to the Canadian AI Conference 2021. This is Koteshwar on behalf of the authors of this work titled Eye Focused Detection of Bell's Palsy in Videos. The paper ID is 114. The authors are Sharik Ali Ansari from College of Engineering Roorkee, Koteshwar Rao Jeripotula from IIIT Delhi, Pragya Nagpal from the University of Texas at Dallas, and Dr. Ankush Mittal from Raman classes. Let's try to understand first what is Bell's palsy. Bell's palsy is a condition where muscles on one side of the face become weak or paralyzed. It's a neurological disorder and results from damage of the facial nerve, which is also known as cranial nerve 7. This nerve has been shown in the image given. It's not considered permanent, but in rare cases, it has been found that it didn't disappear. It can strike anyone at any age. However, it's less common uh, before the age of 15 or after the age of 16. It is usually diagnosed through manual inspection. However, it can be automated thanks to the visible symptoms it has. Let's try to understand what these visible symptoms are. Since one side of the face is paralyzed, the person finds it very difficult to close his eyelids in that side. And because of the paralysis of one side, an asymmetry can be found. Then there is a drooping of the mouth. Now, before we dive into our own work, I would like to point out some of the gaps we found in previous works. Many works rely on asymmetry and they were image based. Now, this asymmetry can be confused with a normal person's lopsided smile or other expressions. This makes image-based solutions not that reliable. And there are very limited number of video-based works. Now, out of the works which are video-based, this many subjects are being asked to perform certain predefined tasks very artificially instead of relying on the natural phenomena such as blinks. Many of them require controlled environments, which makes them limited to those environments only. Almost all the methods work on the entire face, which obviously raises privacy concerns. Now, if you look at this image, just from the eyes, we cannot figure out who this person is, no matter how popular the personality is. Our research just focuses on eyes to predict the Bell's palsy. Let's see how we do it. We observe that for a person who is not suffering from Bell's palsy, both the eyes blink simultaneously. Means there is a similarity in the blinking pattern of the two eyes. However, for a person who is suffering from Bell's palsy, while one eye blinks normally, another one struggles to function similarly, which means there is a difference between the blinking pattern of the two eyes. Now, now all we need is blinking patterns, which means we need only eye regions. And if we just focus on eye regions, we can preserve and we can preserve privacy. So in this work, we will see how we leverage this, how we can model these blinking patterns to detect Bell's palsy. Our entire work is centered around a hybrid feature called blink similarity. We call it hybrid because it is based on the blinks detected via deep learning. So we have a DL network which takes eye image as input and outputs the state of the eye. Now, depending upon the states of the eyes, there are four cases possible. Number one, both the eyes are open. Number two, both the eyes are closed. Number three, left eye is open and right eye is closed. Number four, left eye is closed and right eye is open. Now, while monitoring the states of the eyes in different frames over a period, we can come to a conclusion whether the person really has Bell's palsy or not. So for that, we perform blink pattern analysis, which we will discuss shortly. Before that, we will look into the DL network we developed for blink detection. In our blink detector, the convolutional base itself has 10 layers, where each layer comprises of a convolutional layer, and that convolutional layer is followed by ReLU and max pooling layers. And then there are two fully connected layers. The first one is followed by ReLU and dropout layers, and fully connected. Then the second fully connected layer is followed by softmax and output layers. At the output layer, we have two nodes predicting the probability of the eye to be open or closed. Having understood what the blink detector is, now we will look at the entire proposed methodology. As we go through the frames of the video, we can extract the eyes. How do we extract it? We make use of DLIP key points to first of all detect the eye key points and then leave out some region of the eye apart from the key points and crop the eye region. Now that we have these two eye images, before we pass them on to blink detector, we need to flip the left eye because our blink detector is trained on right eye images. At the time of training, we have flipped the left eye to the right eye so that we are solving an easier problem with whatever data we have. Now, having both eyes look like right eye images, when we pass on to the blink detector, we have two states of the two eyes. Now, these states can be used to update the already existing counters, namely ECFL and ECFR. The purpose of these counters is to count the number of frames in which the respective eye is found to be closed. Now that we understand what is ECFL and ECFR, once all the frames are uh, processed, we develop our final blink similarity feature using min-max ratio of these two counters. The idea is if these two counters are similar, which means that the minimum value and maximum value will also be similar. Then our blink similarity feature value will tend to 1. And now if there is a difference between the two counters, which will obviously happen in the case of Bell's palsy, this score becomes 0. I mean, it will tend to 0 because minimum will be very less compared to the maximum. Now, having developed this blink similarity feature, we can provide this feature to an ML model to predict whether the person concerned has Bell's palsy or not. Now, if we look at the outputs of our blink detector for these two cases, we can see that since for the normal person, both the eyes close simultaneously, we see 1, 1 for both the eyes. And when it was open, we find 0, 0, which results in ACFL2 and ACFR is equal to 2. And finally, our BS score becomes 1 as we expected. And similarly, for Bell's palsy case, there were 3 frames where left eye was closed and resulting in ACFL is equal to 3. But in those very frames, our right eye was still open, which was affected side. So this results in ACFR 0 and our final BS feature turns out to be 0. Now, we develop the dataset named blink detection dataset to train our blink detector CNN. This dataset comprises of around 22,000 open eye images and 20,000 closed eye images. We split our dataset into 70, 15, 15, where 70% of the data goes for training, 15% of the data goes for validation, and 15% of the data goes for testing. All these images have been obtained by cropping the internet images. Now moving to our next data set that we develop, which we use to verify our proposed methodology. In this video, there are 41 videos of the patients suffering from Bell's palsy and 34 videos of the person not suffering from Bell's palsy. Now coming to the results, our blink detector very accurately predicts the states of the eyes, as you can see in the slide. Coming to the quantitative results of the blink detector, we achieve more than 99.5% accuracy in all 3 phases of machine learning. And we compare our results with 2 baselines. where BGG in one BGG feature is being fed to random classifier, and another one inception ResNet features are being supplied to the random forest classifier. And our method, our blink detector performs well, performs better than both these baselines. Now, if we look at the confusion matrix, only 22 images out of more than 6,000 images were misclassified. Now, coming to the final results, recall that we have limited videos. The entire dataset consisted of only 75 videos. Now, in that case, we could do only cross validation. Since our blink similarity, is a feature, we compare it with learned features of 3D PALCINET. And those features of 3D PALCINET are similarly passed on to the different models generated using different machine learning algorithms. And as you can see, no matter which algorithm is taken, our feature was performing well. And on an average, we perform 92.4, we perform with an accuracy of 92.5 percentage, and 3D PALCINET features could perform with only 70.8% accuracy. Coming to the confusion matrix, only we could misclassify only 4 videos out of the 75 videos we collected using our method. Now, since our feature is so good, meaning if its value is near to 1, we know that the person is normal, and if it is near to 0, then the person is having Bell's palsy. Now, we thought of rounding it off to develop a unsupervised model. And interestingly, we obtain 92% accuracy, which is comparable to the results obtained using supervised approach. However, it is still less than the best accuracy which we get that is 94.7% accuracy. Now, the reason we get better accuracy in our supervised approach is it is very difficult to find what threshold is good if we just want to develop an unsupervised method. Now, when we have supervised approach using the label data, we can find an optimal threshold, and effectively it can predict whether the person is having Bell's palsy or not. So if we have label data, then we will then it is much better. But even if we don't have label data, we are performing well by just rounding off the score which we have developed. Now, coming to the conclusion, we seek a novel problem called eye focus detection of Bell's palsy. And then to solve this problem, we develop a novel eye-based feature named blink similarity, for videos. Then we have developed two data sets to achieve our goal, and our performance has been much better than existing methods or baselines. We focus on only eye region images. We focus on only eye regions, which makes our method privacy preserving. Since we analyze only blinking patterns, our method becomes very explainable. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this